Guys, we are about to unlock Shredder, and I'm super excited about that. The fact I was able to get him on his first return since I have been back playing Raid Shadow Legends. And if you guys want to get into the TMNT collab while it's still ongoing, we do have new characters still coming out even. Make sure you do get started via the link down below in the description. That being said, it does help me out tremendously more than you know, so make sure you do. And if you guys want to know more about that, here's a quick word on that. Download and get started today on a brand new account for Raid Shadow Legends using my code down below in the description. You'll help me out tremendously and I greatly appreciate it. And when you do, you'll get access to Elenaril the Legendary at the sign up. You'll also get Uugo, an Epic champion at level 10, Lightsworn, another Epic at level 20, and Tagoar, an Epic at level 30. You also can use Desert Queen to unlock the Legendary 2 Rock. Get started today and get over $200 worth of free goodies, and it helps me out again tremendously, so I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and get Shredder. Let's go. All right, so this was a tournament yesterday that was ongoing for Champion Chase, and I just updated the game, so it's a little bit slow with the loading here. But basically, you had to get 4,500 points and win first place, obviously. You had to hit at least 4,500, but you had to win first place primarily to unlock Shredder. And we're going to get him here now. Super excited. I was able to put 5,000 big points on the board with these sacred shards. By the way, I was going to record that video, but I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe I did record it. I don't know. But my pulls were quite bad. They were quite bad. I didn't get anything. Look at how competitive the overall general leaderboard is, though. The person that ranked number 1 on the global leaderboards put up 114,000 points, man. That is absurd. And all right, here's a look at Shredder, bro, in game. Look at how sick he is, man. That is clean. Oh my God, look at how sick he looks. Look at him pumping his shoulders and stuff. I am so excited about this, man. So if you're wondering about Shredder and where he's useful and all that stuff, say you're like me and you happen to unlock him. Firstly, as an HP-based character, he's actually really tanky, and with that survivability, has a ton of different use cases. So for the first attack here, attacks one enemy 3 times. The second and third hit of this skill will ignore 5 and 10% of the target's defense, respectively. The second and third hits of this skill will deal 10 and 20% more crit damage based on his overall HP. So you need to build his HP stat as high as possible, but again, that will help his survivability, so it's a two-folded thing. With this second move, he attacks all enemies twice. Each crit destroys the enemy's defense by 5%, stacks up to 30%, and each crit also increases this champion's max HP by 5%, stacks up to 30%. Each hit also has a 75% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns, and the debuff can't be resisted if this champion is under veil or perfect veil buffs, so you can put him alongside a character that can help him get those veils, of course, but it looks like he can do it himself. Attacks all enemies here. Before attacking, steals all buffs from a single target enemy. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under a veil or perfect veil. Fills his champion's turn meter by 15% for each buff stolen. Will ignore 15% of each enemy's defense as well as shield and block damage buffs. If this champion is under veil or perfect veil, this will ignore 30% of the enemy's defense instead. And so here's that passive that he unlocks with his third ascension. Decrease all incoming damage by 30%. This damage is split equally among all allies except this champion. That's very interesting. Increases this champion's damage dealt by 15% for each dead ally. So he actually makes his other guys take all the damage for him and then gets extra damage up. That's quite interesting. Whenever this champion loses 20% of their max HP in one attack, he has a 100% chance to evade the next attack. When this guaranteed evade activates, he gets a perfect veil for this champion for 2 turns and has a 50% chance of placing a true fear debuff as well on the enemy, and it can't be resisted. Extremely strong. So for true fear, that is down here. I forget between the difference between that and true fear, just regular fear and true fear. True fear is as follows. I just saw fear. I guess it's kind of tied into one passive though. Here it is. There are 2 versions of this debuff. So when a champion with True Fear debuff attempts to use a skill, there's a 50% chance that that skill will not activate. They're too scared to use their skill. So overall, as an HP-based character, though, he's very strong and can be used in multiple places. The fact he can put that perfect veil on himself does mean that he's not going to be a character you need to rely so much on. You don't have to rely so much on other characters. He's also got that HP aura skill as well. He's going to be a character, though, I can already see it, that can be really good in a lot of different content. And he's got Leech in here, too, so that's really strong, too, for the survivability of your core team. So he's going to be good in a lot of different content, like your Demon Lord, your Hydra. He's going to be strong against Chimera. Chimera content. He's going to be good in a lot of different places overall. And if you're wondering about the overall set for the character, I think that you really want to go for crit rate. As I was looking at this, he's doing a lot of big hits, multi-hits. Crit rate would be really good on him. So a set like Merciless, or even maybe if you want to go from there to more crit damage, things like that. But a set like Merciless or Savage would be pretty good on him too, for PvE based content. But again, I still think that you're probably using those sets mostly for PvP stuff. I don't really know so much about mastery, so I'm not really going to talk a ton about that, but Shredder overall looks like a absolute monster in terms of gameplay, and he's just a nice addition to the overall roster. So I'm super duper excited to have him and all that. And once again, if you want to get started playing the game, now is the perfect time to start playing Raid. Again, they've got this collab. They have a bunch of other collabs that have been ongoing. Here's a look at Leonardo right there. He also recently came out. I did not acquire him, unfortunately, but we have a ton of collabs on this game. We're always getting new ones, new characters, and it's quite a fun game that does have a lot of updates. They're constantly updating it, constantly working on this game. They even got Ninja in here, the streamer. So definitely check it out once again via the link down below in the description. Hopefully you all enjoyed this one. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, so don't shoot me, but I did the best I could. I have a lot of farming of artifacts to do, and so ultimately this is what I settled on for him. I didn't really, like I said, have a ton of great options, but I wanted to make sure I got a speed set on there. Now, the main thing was just making sure that I was trying to boost HP and the criticals as much as I could, which I did throughout on these as much as I possibly could. We also got the Cruel set on to increase attack, but also to ignore the defense. We don't need the attack, it's just for the ignoring of the defense. I may cycle this off, excuse me. In fact, I'm pretty positive I will later on. Another thing I put on here was actually I really wanted to put on and like the set for Immortal. It gives 15% HP and then heals by 3% every turn. I think that fits him pretty well overall. So that's mostly how I was able to come to grips with him. I actually don't know what relics I have. Probably nothing. Yeah, nothing in here. Where reflects 5% of damage absorbed by block damage or unkillable buffs back to the attacker. Where it receives 2% less damage from ally protection. Whereas turn meter increases by 10% when they apply debuffs to enemies. This actually is not bad because he does drop that True Fear. So that's probably the best one I'll put on. Where it receives less if under any debuffs. I could do that, but which shapes do I have? This piece, okay, what is that, a hexagon? I don't know. Pentagon, my bad. The wearer's turn meter increases 5% faster when they are forced to miss their turn. Oh, interesting. So there's a lot of turn meter stuff happening here. I could really make use of that. So we're actually going to put this on until we get, obviously, a better one down the road. So it is what it is. We'll put that socket for Fleetfoot, and we are set. I will actually also upgrade this. I don't typically recommend upgrading low-level stuff, but I will push that one up, and then we'll upgrade the rank and just kind of go through, just because, like I said, I want to kind of, can I put a different, yeah, we'll put the dupe on because I don't really need that. Just because I wanted to get going with this. We could push this up higher, and then I'll work my way back to push it up to ideally get at least the defense. I could get the HP, but I think that's maybe too much investment for a rare, relic piece there. So other than that, though, I haven't worked on his leveling of skills. I've actually been waiting on a champion training event. Is there one live now? It's actually it's the next day, just for full transparency. There is not a champion training event. I really don't want to push him all the way up to 6-star and all that stuff without a champion training event. So that's mostly what I'm waiting on at this moment. That may be another thing that pops in soon that I can actually do to get me some extra rewards back. Yeah, no, there's nothing there. They're actually starting the Shredder tournament here for clearing the event dungeon. So Shredder does have his own event dungeon, if that wasn't clear. But this, I believe, is a part of the April events. So quite a lot going on here. So like I was mentioning earlier, if you haven't already, now is the perfect time to get into Raid and give it a shot, man. I do think that the game is quite good. And if you're a fan of TMNT, then you will enjoy and appreciate this collab. We also have Clan v Clan going on here. That is a mode where your inputs for like just various things throughout apply across to your guild, I guess I should say. And then if you win, you get more and more points, and you get points based on your own contribution. So if you made it to the end of the video, firstly, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It means a ton to me. Post in the comments down below, DFree, I finished it, and I'll give you a heart. Now, lastly, if you really want to support the channel, once again, make sure you do get started playing Raid on a brand new account through the link down below in the description, again, because that helps out tremendously, and I, again, also greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.